Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hammers back and the safety's on, safety's on, safety's on. Hammers back and the safety's on unless it's a Glock.
As Commander-in-Chief, what's the number one national security threat, foreign threat to America right now, and what would you do to fix it?
Well, the number one threat, the number one responsibility for the president is to protect the people of the United States of America. Would that there were only one threat. There are always threats, and they're always
evolving. What's the most important one? What's the greatest danger?
The greatest danger that we face right now on a consistent basis in terms of man-made threats is nuclear Iran, and related to that, extremist violence. I don't think you can separate the two. I think they go together. In terms of natural threats, clearly it's climate change, and we have to confront man-made and natural threats.
So if it's nuclear Iran, is the answer striking a deal with Iran, as President Obama has said, or not taking the deal that President Obama is searching for, as Prime Minister Netanyahu has argued?
Well, it remains to be seen, doesn't it? I'm hopeful, and in our state, we passed some of the earliest and strongest sanctions against Iranian nuclear development of any state in the Union. The goal was to drive the Iranians to the negotiating table, and I think we should support the president in achieving that negotiated settlement. I mean, when you see 47 members of the Senate writing the letter like they had, it's a sad day for our country. If you hate the president of the United States more than you distrust the Ayatollah, then you probably shouldn't be in the United States Senate.
Jack O'Malley? Where's Jack? All right. No.
I love it.
Where's Mark? Sorry.
Welcome. Not yet. Producer's fault.
You always do.
You don't throw a fit. I spill hot sauce on your fancy rug. You don't give a shit. I've been holding with the boys all night.
Okay, I have no video. Welcome to the April 8th edition of Lock and Load, opened by the fabulous Shannon Alford, singing her lovely song, the Glock song.
Oh, I think we got to hear that again.
Okay. Well,
Hammers back and the safety's on, safety's on, safety's on. Hammers back and the safety's on unless it's a Glock.
That's just too funny.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And for those of you that were asking, it is Jim Beam Black Extra Aged. So there you go.
It's going to be a fun night.
It's never dull, except that I have no video. So you're going to have to check the link.
I'll try it here in a second.
Thank you.
Although they've already said that it looks okay on their end.
Well, that's good. That's very good.
But,
so anyway, yeah. So April 8th, we are less than a week away from Sign to Die. And
woohoo.
And all kinds of things usually happen on Sign to Die and are possible. So, we'll cross our fingers and see what's coming up. The first piece of business I have. First of all, let's start with Dan. Dan, how was Berwyn last week? I know that you had the lovely and talented Glock song singer there.
We had the fabulous Shannon Alford in, and it was a fantastic meeting.
Good.
There were a lot of good questions. Little disappointed in the number of hands that went up at the club when people were asked who had gone to Annapolis and stuff. Out of a room of about 60, I think we had maybe 8 hands go up, not counting Shannon and myself.
We should have had Shannon earlier in the session then, like before gun day, to come and, bolster.
I know.
That's what we should have done. So, and I'll be there next month.
Yeah, she will.
So we'll say more power to Dan. That's right. Audio and video is great. Oh, okay. Whatever it is we're doing it right.
Oh.
So,
Whoopie hoobie.
So, how was your week, Mike? How was your Easter?
Easter was uneventful. It was relatively quiet. I have after going camping last week, the stomach virus that kind of ripped through the family is still ripping through the last couple of people. And so Easter was very laid back, quiet, relaxed, just me, the wife, and the 4 kids. So
you had an extra helper on the team hide the egg. Team hide the egg.
So this year, my oldest decided that he is no longer interested in searching for the Easter eggs, but he wanted to help hide them for his younger siblings.
Very
So
cute.
he became a member of the hide team this year.
Very cute.
How'd that work out?
Actually, it went pretty well. He's got a pretty good grasp on hiding things and making it age appropriately difficult. The kids all do. Heather usually lets them do between 6 and 9 eggs each, and then they put an initial on the bottom of them, and then they.
You have to find your eggs.
You have to find your eggs.
Eggs.
And you have to be quiet about it. You can't. If you find somebody else's egg, you've got to put it back without saying anything.
Oh, I see.
Because all 3 of them get ticked. Because
it's not 9 o'clock yet.
If their egg is found by somebody else. So
I don't know what is going on. I still got no video.
I was the same way, but oh well.
Everybody else out there in internet land says that they've got it.
It's
so
just me then. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give up on that then, and I'll go back to the chat room. So I know the Dohertys were pretty damn sick as a result of the.
Well, we know Mike is on a regular basis anyway.
Well, he hangs out with us.
That's right.
So
this one I would not. Let's put it this way: what I had, I would not wish on Brian Frosch. So
wow,
ooh,
wow,
yeah,
that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
So you were feeling like Frosch?
We won't go down that road.
All right. What the heck? Seifert, stop changing the title of the room. I don't even know what that means, but stop it. Listen, I just wanted to, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about. And for those of you that don't read Red Maryland, probably should. Brian Griffiths wrote a great article about something I was going to talk about anyway. There was this big hubbub in the press and on social media as well. Oh, Hogan signed, to extend session, and my phone blew up, and everybody's up in arms. I'm like, folks, they do this every year. Constitution requires that the governor, on the off chance that the budget doesn't pass, or for any other reason, that if he wants the option to extend session for any reason, he must do it 7 days before sine die. So they do this, like signing their name. I mean, it's automatic. So they can still adjourn sine die, and probably will. At least I can't remember the last time. Let's put it this way. Not since I've been working in Annapolis have they extended sine die. Although there was one year when I think it was Bush decided that 10 after 12 was not 10 after 12. It was whatever time he wanted it to be. You might have been there. You might have been there. I don't remember. But anyway, a couple of years ago. And
he did that in 2013. 10 after 12 wasn't 10 after 12. 10 after 12 was...
He said, sine die is when I say it is.
Yes.
And I was like, okay then. So we're going to sit here. Because Mike stood up on the floor and said, Mr. Speaker, it's after midnight.
Yes, because our favorite Glock song person came back to the office after that and stood up on a chair. And
was that after that? No.
That was, yes.
That was sine die? No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. That was.
Bet you not.
I believe it was sine die on.
We were having pizza. I think it was Gun Bill Day.
I think it was sine die because it was all said and done because.
Well, we will have to check with the fabulous St. Crispin's Day, Chica.
We shall.
All right. We shall overcome.
And if the great
and powerful Oz?
No. I was going to refer to him as the great 2A babysitter that Ben Kushwa happens to check in. We can ask him.
Does he ever?
He checks in on occasion.
Well. So anyway, and as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it wasn't because I put up a thing the other day with her standing on the chair. And I think that was like April 2nd, and we don't have sine die that early.
I'll have to go back and look at that pic.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook. Scroll down. So Brian Griffiths wrote an article about this very subject, and it's beautiful. It's called "Naivete, Ignorance, and Political Malpractice." And the liberals are just, and the governor takes a breath, and they're all over him. So the lobbyist for, I assume it's the lobbyist. Hold on. I'm sorry, the political and legislative director for SEIU, which is one of the bigger unions in the state, tweeted out, Hogan extends Maryland General Assembly 15 to fight bipartisan and better budget and race to bottom with education cuts and war of attrition on workers. No, he's required to do that. The reporters and activists are crying foul, such as the one above. This is from Brian Griffith's article about the executive order, clearly show their ignorance, and he's absolutely right. And he quotes the Maryland State Constitution, Article 3, Section 52, subsection 10. So you can go look it up. And he goes and concludes by saying the real hullabaloo about left-wing activists like this SEIU person is the fact that this literally happens almost every year. Just look at the fact that Martin O'Malley issued executive orders for each of his first 7 years in office, extending the General Assembly session for the same reasons. And he goes through and lists those. Brian concludes and says, we keep telling you that the left-wing activists and their media allies will never give Larry Hogan a break. This is merely the latest in an ever-expanding list of examples detailing that. He did a nice job of summing that up. So do check out his article. I didn't read the whole thing to you, but I thought you'd be interested. So if somebody says to you, oh, he's extending session because that's what you do when you're governor, okay? We didn't have fits when Governor O'Malley did it because we knew this was, this was just pro forma is what I'm looking for. Okay, so there's that.
Okay.
So everybody's like, oh my God, we're going to be here another week. No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, it could happen. Yes, it could happen. But I have yet to see it happen. Now, we've had special sessions, but those do not usually follow regular session.
Right.
All right. And Maryland Reporter today reports that the House moves travel website. This is written by Len Lazarek, who's a friend of mine, and I love him to pieces. House moves travel website tax along and rejects amendments. Basically, what they're trying to do is tax a service fee. Yes.
Excuse me?
Yes. The effort to collect more Maryland sales tax from travel websites such as Orbitz and Expedia moved closer to enactment as the House gave preliminary approval to legislation backed by Marriott and other hotel chains. The print here is really small. The online sites call the measure a new tax, and the hotels say it is an existing tax that the tech travel sites were pocketing instead of paying. I don't think so. Local travel agents say they may be caught in the crossfire and wind up paying tax on their service fees. So Len goes on and explains, and I had to read his explanation a couple times. So let's go to the example. So here's the example. An online site offers a hotel room for $100 plus the $6 in sales tax. It pays the hotel $80 for the room plus $4.80 in sales tax. The site keeps the $21.20 from the transaction. Under the bill, the site would pay the $6 in sales tax and keep the $20. The hotels see the online sites as competitors, lowering some of their profit margin. Well, you see, here's the thing. These are all negotiated. The hotels have had to agree to this. They're not advertising. Expedia isn't saying, hey, you can go down to Marriott Waterfront and get a hotel room for $100 when Marriott hasn't agreed to take $100 for a $150 room. So a little disingenuous there. In a lawsuit, Francho's suing over this, and an amendment by Delegate Matt Morgan, a Republican out of St. Mary's, to delay the impact of the bill until after the court case was decided was also voted down because, of course, we don't care what the courts have to say, as the 2A community has already found out.
Well, I mean, Maryland does have a very significant history of that. So.
And it's worked for him so far.
Governor Larry Hogan has not taken a position on this bill, but Republican legislative leaders have made clear they side with opponents and consider it a new tax, as well they should. If Hogan and his staff reach the same conclusion, the governor, who is a very loud critic of recent tax increases, will likely veto this bill. because it takes more money out of the pocket of online travel sites and local agents, even though it is backed by Marriott, one of the last remaining Fortune 500 companies headquartered in Maryland. An opponent of the measure, Delegate Eric Bromwell, Democrat, Baltimore County, even offered amendments to make Marriott repay some of the incentives it has been given by the state to remain in Maryland. Those amendments failed. And in my notes, I wrote, "Go, Eric." So good on him for standing up for what's right. So all kinds of stuff going on. I see that the Southern Maryland Friends of NRA dinner is May 9th, and there is free beer. But that would be great, but I don't drink beer. And I just don't drink and drive. So
You need to figure out how to turn beer into wine.
Beer into wine? How about just water into wine? Cheaper.
Well, if the beer's free.
How about water into bourbon?
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Well, you can do that. You need a little bit of rye and or corn and a little bit of hops and a little bit of yeast and a little bit of thyme.
So Skipper
Oak
Key.
barrel.
Yeah, barrel.
Yeah, we got some new folks with us this week. Some names I don't recognize. Ember Madge.
That would probably be Mage, but
Yeah, mage.
Whatever. Depends on where you're from, I suppose. I
it
don't know who
depends on if
Blaster
you
is.
ever played D&D. But
Oh God, Dan, did you play Dungeons and Dragons?
I
Yes or
did.
no? You did.
Did.
Oh my God, I am surrounded. My best friends are all geeks. Oh God. So Shannon was over recently, and we were canning, as you may have seen on my Facebook, and we were canning strawberry champagne jam. And
Is there a jar for me?
no, and I'll tell you why. Hold on, there wasn't a jar for him, and he was
It a jar for
here.
me, and I helped.
Oh,
He was here. So
I didn't help much. but I did help a
she
little
brought 2 flats of strawberries over, and we made a double recipe, thinking that we'd get at least 6 jars out of this stuff. And we got 2 jars and about that much of a third. So we call that a
okay.
refrigerator jar. So she got one, I got the other,
Okay.
and that was all there was. So, but it was good, and we'll be making it again. So the Second Amendment Preservation Society is open to anyone who supports the Second Amendment and wishes to show up at my house and help can. So, but apparently how things grow affects the yield in canning, which we didn't know. You failed your saving through nerve figures.
Yeah, you never played D&D. You wouldn't understand the reference.
Okay.
However, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Well, Shannon Alford, you are live on Lock and Load.
All I heard was you hating on D&D, and I had to call in.
Oh my God. Well, we started with the Glock song, and I told you I was going to try not to talk about you tonight, but you also knew I was full of it. So so now now I'm surrounded by all of my best friends are now D&D geeks. I give up.
Not
What do you
now,
mean now?
D&D geeks.
What do you mean now?
Still?
On occasion.
What'd you say?
Have been. We never stopped being the
Oh.
D&D geeks.
Oh God. And Jamie was a D&D geek too, wasn't he?
Danny was the dungeon master.
That's right. Oh, yeah, I remember we had this conversation. I'll tell you about it all day. At any rate, yes. Apparently, it was very interesting in college playing Dungeons and Dragons with Shannon and Jamie, or Jamie and Shannon just had a character or something. I don't quite understand the whole thing, but anyway, yes. So they liked your Glock song, dear.
I was performing it for my dinner companions as well.
I'm sure they were thrilled. Dinner and a show.
Well, and I'll tell you, we came up with a brilliant event, and I think that you'll appreciate it, and I think we should turn this into a two-way community event. We're calling it Bangin' Brunch. Ladies only. You go have a fabulous brunch, and then you shoot.
Did you say banging brunch?
Bangin' Brunch.
Can if I may, can I lead into that?
Oh God, here we go.
Well, no. This goes to an event that Shannon was invited to at Berwyn, and you are too, and Julia.
Oh yeah, we're having tea.
Yes, it's called Tea and Targets by the Berwyn Rod and Gun Club. It is
Tea
the
and tarts. Go ahead.
Well, there will be some of those there too, I'm sure.
Anyway.
Yes, it's
So
called
the
Tea and
Berwyn-
Targets.
And what date is that?
It is the Saturday after Mother's Day.
Okay. All right. We'll work on it.
So, but the idea
I think she's already told me I'm going. So
you are going.
Yeah, you're going.
okay, I'm going.
You're going, and if I'm in town, you will see me there in.
Oh no. Under no circumstances are you permitted to miss this event. Shannon and I expect you to serve us tea. If I'm gonna haul my butt out to Berwyn twice, you are serving me tea.
No, you see, if you're hauling your butt out to Berwyn twice, I'm not just serving you tea, dear. I'm serving you high tea.
Excellent.
We don't do tea. We do high tea.
And what does high tea? What does Berwyn think high tea is?
White tablecloths, white gloves, tuxes if you got them for the guys. You come in and it's the pinky out, the whole thing.
Oh boy.
With the little cakettes and all. Yeah,
cucumber sandwiches.
we can do those too.
Tea sandwiches.
Crumpets and scones.
Crumpets and scones. You have to have your sweets and you have to have your savories.
Yeah, so yes, the Second Amendment Preservation Society table will be served by yours truly.
It better be. I'm not going if it's not. Just saying. Well, Shannon, is there anything that we should be hearing from you at all about anything?
No, I mostly just called to make sure that D&D was being appropriately defended.
You have two D&D dorks sitting next to her. What did you think?
Hey, speak for yourself, dork. I'm a D&D geek.
Oh, Lord.
Also, I plan on wearing a fabulous tea and Targets because you can't have high tea without a fabulous hat.
So you're going to make me go buy a hat too?
Yes.
I have plenty of hats. You can borrow one of mine.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. We'll go back to Jamie and your dinner and we'll talk later.
Excellent.
All right, darling. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. Bye. That was funny. Oh, Lord. Bang and brunch. Yes, bang and brunch. Yes, I finally did get that.
Never mind. Never mind.
I think you should let that go. It's not 9 o'clock yet. So,
Never mind.
So anyway, yes. So Dan, you need Mad Hatter's hat for high tea.
I presume he's referring to a top hat.
Don't know.
And
Well, I mean, you don't remember Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter's hat?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be a top hat with a joker.
Yes.
So, and Shannon,
that would be appropriate for me.
Shannon, in case you're listening, MX Rider says, congrats on the house. Shannon bought a new house and she's very, very excited about it. And I imagine Jamie is too, her husband. So they can play their little D&D games at their new house. And maybe you all will go over and play with them.
Never mind.
Should I move on?
If you want to.
Okay.
Or we can keep going down this rabbit hole.
It's not 9 o'clock yet, so. Okay. What was your vibe from Berwyn?
That was addressed. Minuteman was trying to ask Shannon a question, but she's already.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, I gave you guys articles too.
Yeah.
You expect us to speak?
I do. I do. See, Mike produces. He sends me all the articles. I read them, and then right before the show, I hand them out. And so they each get a couple, and I, do most of the research. He does the research. I do the reading.
The one that I had, it was just an amusing thing. I tend to.
It's appropriate.
I tend to do a lot of my research while I'm on conference calls at work because I'm on conference calls.
So you're being productive.
Good Lord.
Well, you can't sit still and do one thing at a time. Anyway.
No, I can't.
So you're being productive on a conference call.
Yes, exactly. But not productive in the conference call. But hey,
I didn't say in. I said on.
So you had a couple of things that I know a couple of folks on our favorite forums know about this one too. That there was a warehouse fire in PG County the other day that destroyed 2 very expensive pieces of fire apparatus. That I'm sure the investigation is going to come out that they were parked too close and a couple of other things, but that'll be a long time coming anyway. Those guys are going to have to spend quite a bit of money to replace the trucks, but. So I'm a member of a department, so I tend to look at Statter 911 every now and then. And a friend of mine on my Facebook feed today actually posted one, There's a video out there of a concerned citizen berating firefighters for going to the grocery store in their apparatus. So I'm like, I could sit here and honestly admit that I watched this video and I sat there watching this video going, I want to reach through my screen.
Yeah.
He's berating firefighters because they went 4 miles out of the way.
Strangling or throat punch?
Knife hand.
Okay.
Choking.
No, knife hand. Anybody who's a Marine will understand.
Okay.
So he's berating in one of the videos. He's berating a crew of firefighters off of an engine company who had gone 4 miles out of their way to go to a full service grocery store to buy groceries instead of going almost right next door to a specialty butcher shop just to buy specialty cuts of meat. So, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily know this. I think probably most of our community understands it, but even in volunteer companies, most of the fire and rescue folks are on duty for multiple hours. We pay for our own food. The counties don't provide meals for us. Even in the counties where they're on 24, the localities where they're on a 24-hour shift and then off either 48 or 72 hours, their meals are not provided for them. So the guys have to go out. If they want food, it's either go grab something fast food. And most fire and rescue departments have a long-standing tradition of trying to cook at least one meal a day. Granted, most of the time it sits on the table and gets cold because inevitably you make a great meal and the tones go off.
Yeah.
But
well, isn't that how you make work? You cook.
So
that's what my husband would say about my cooking.
It's just one of those things that I just saw this one and I had to go, man, I want to. It's just annoying to me to see people complain when you see a piece of fire apparatus. And if you look at the video, it's not like they were parked in a fire lane right up against the store. You could tell they'd brought a cart with them. They were out at the far side of the parking lot. They weren't in anybody's way. They handled it incredibly professionally.
Yeah, they did. I watched the video.
They did not return any of his comments with anything other than absolutely professional speech. But anyway, that was my little one. It's just a non sequitur, not necessarily firearms related.
No, matter of fact, I know of at least one first responder riding in the car with Shannon. So we do have first responders listening to the show.
Let me piggyback on that with regards to the 2 units that were lost this week in PG. It had nothing to do with positioning next to the structure. The structure wasn't involved. It was strictly the yard. The wind shifted, and it's akin to being in a wildfire that you're out fighting it. Wind shifts, fire comes your way, and it's a no shit moment and no chance to move the apparatus.
Yeah, there was one report that I read that on one of the fire sites that had mentioned that they were a little bit too close to combustibles. Not that one of the engine companies was, or I think the engine company was close to a stack of pallets that were not on fire, and then the wind shifted and started blowing embers and fire source their way, and it got nailed.
Yeah, the way they were set up, actually, I think Kentland's rescue was the one that was closer, since it ended up in a smoldering heap of aluminum slag, totally unrecoverable. 28 West Lanham Hills. They lost the cab. They lost part of the undercarriage, but they're going to end up replacing the whole thing. Anyway.
Both vehicles were considered totaled anyway.
Yeah,
so
they were. There's Mark Brady, who's the PIO for PG County, posted a few excellent videos of the aftermath walk around of both. It's the first time I've ever seen queues that didn't survive. And that gets pretty hot. The quintessential siren sound you hear?
Mm-hmm.
The wind-up sound?
It's made by a company called Federal, and it's called the Q. Mm-hmm. It is an air-driven siren. All it is literally is an electric motor that spins what looks, if you look at it closely, looks like a fan. And it's the air movement being sucked in through the front and out through the sides that makes that distinctive sound.
Well, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And it's activated by a foot pedal, typically both the driver and the officer. So the driver and the person sitting in the right front seat have foot pedals for it so that they can control it.
Got
it. And if anybody has seen the video of engine 28 as they're putting it out, the wires one of the foot pedals shorted because it was at full wind, full wind.
You could hear it for a while. Yep.
Yeah. So and that's not a pleasant sound. So when it gets that high.
Before I forget, while we're talking about geeks.
Yes.
So we go from fire department back to geeks.
Back to geeks.
Actually,
Well, because I was thinking about it.
A lot of fire rescue people are geeks.
So I'm looking for a new game for my Xbox. Not first-person shooter because I haven't found one that I liked yet, but RPGs are great. And anything else you can recommend. So if you've got something you recommend, go to my Facebook, send me a text, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I'm looking for something to play. So Shannon got me started on, what the heck is Diablo? I played Diablo years ago, and then they released that one, and then I worked all the way through it. And I'm done with that. I'm done. I finished it. I got it for Christmas. I finished it by the end of January.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you know.
A geek in the making.
Oh, no. I am a proud geek. I just am not a D&D geek because that is epic level status.
Well, somewhere in, I want to say Maryland, there is a couple of guys that are into D&D and they're into coffee and they're trying to do a startup of a coffee shop that is D&D.
Good for them.
Oh, come on. You know you want to go.
That's lovely.
So I take it you won't be going there to get your coffee?
No. But the guy,
she may be getting another phone call from Shannon at some point.
The people at my high school that played D&D were like classic dorks. I mean, classic dorks. Like go watch what was the movie about the kids in college? It's an old 80s movie.
Come on.
I can't think of the name of the movie.
Okay, well then describe it.
So they want to start their own fraternity. They try to join a fraternity. They're all geeks. They can't get into the fraternity, so they start their own fraternity.
Revenge of the
Yes, the Revenge of the Nerds.
Nerds.
That's what those guys look like
the
in high school.
Tri-Lambs?
Yeah, right. But that's what those guys look like in my high school that played Dungeons and Dragons. And so, yeah. Anyway, so yes, Tech Geek over here is looking for a new Xbox game, not a first-person shooter. Yes.
Did she just call herself a geek?
Oh, I have no problem with that. I'm just not a D&D geek because that's like epic level. So, yes, 2A, I agree. I do need a job, but I we're working on it. I am a lobbyist for MSRPA. So, when does your shop open, Dan?
What shop, Perrin?
Witcher 3.
You were relating a story about a coffee shop?
That shop. Don't know.
When does your shop open is what he wants to know.
Yeah, well, it's not my shop, so
I'll have to. All right, Witcher 3, I'm being told, yes, they all knew Revenge of the Nerds. See? Diablo 3 I played it all the way through, done. And it wouldn't matter if I had two jobs, I'd still be playing. So, because I had a good time on that Diablo 3. Skyrim, I've heard that's okay, but I'd like to hear from somebody that played it. Somebody that isn't 18 years old.
I played it on the PC, but
any good?
I enjoyed it. I just haven't reloaded it on the new one.
All right. Anyway, back on track. Dan, it's your turn.
I've actually got three things going on, and I'm gonna start
do one, and then I'll do one, and then you could do one, and Mike could do one.
Well, let's see. Let's go up to New Jersey.
It's not 9 o'clock.
I didn't say anything wrong, just because you interpreted it that way.
All
right, let's go.
Why does she always get upset when I do that?
Because you only do it. Just read your story.
And then she gets flustered and can't finish a complete sentence.
People wonder why I drink when I'm with Dan. Just saying.
To make me look better.
Of course, I drink when I'm with Shannon, but not for the same reasons.
Like I said, to make me look better.
Just go.
So, New Jersey State Senate President Stephen M. Sweeney has 3 words for gun owners that have initiated a recall effort against him. Bring it on.
Bring it.
This ought to be fun. So, according to the Courier Post in New Jersey, Second Amendment Society President Alexander Rubin said the recall effort has been 3 years in the making, so they're still working on it. He says it began after Sweeney promised gun owners he would not let a high-capacity magazine ban come to the Senate floor. then did an about face and allowed the bill to come to the floor after visiting with parents from Sandy Hook Elementary. Sweeney's district includes rural Gloucester, Salem, and Cumberland counties. Constituents in these counties feel Sweeney traded their local interests in exchange for statewide support via gun control. They are doubly outraged by the fact that Sweeney was swayed by out-of-state interest. Sweeney admits to changing his views after talking to Sandy Hook parents, but maintains that he is unlikely to do so again. Okay. Yet appears unapologetic for supporting what he describes as common sense gun safety. He said, groups are free to express their position on guns, but if people are trying to intimidate me into changing my opinion on common sense gun safety initiatives, good luck. Sweeney then added, bring it on. Let's go.
Yeah,
Okie dokie.
He's a mess.
He is a mess.
They would call, if there was legislation to take every gun out of every home in the United States, they would call that common sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for the children. I mean, I am not exaggerating. That is exactly what they would tell you. This is common sense. Why would you want guns in your home? Oh, jeez. I mean, it's just a mess. What is a CTD?
The Connecticut Democrat.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's one of the ones in your pile.
Okay.
The $2,000 tax credit one.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Everyone drink twice, dancing common sense. And there's the gym.
Common sense.
Drink up, pal.
Okie dokie.
Nah, go ahead. Then there's the Coke, and there's ice in the refrigerator if it hasn't melted yet. Walmart's in a bit of a pickle. Walmart, which I did not know, is the nation's largest gun retailer. I would have thought it was just about anybody but them, but I guess after Kmart stopped selling, then Walmart was number 2 or something. I don't know. But anyway, this is published this morning in the Washington Times. Is awaiting a verdict Wednesday to see whether it can continue to sell modern sporting rifles if enough investors think it's a business the company shouldn't be in, arguing that Walmart's willingness to sell high-capacity magazine rifles contradicts its promise to uphold community and family values. Trinity Wall Street Church in New York won its case in November when the district court ruled shareholders could propose and vote on a resolution that would force Walmart's board of directors to review its gun sales policy. Now, that's shareholders, okay? Gun rights activists argue that the district court's decision allows the church, which owns 3,500 Walmart shares, and other political activists to push gun control via corporate policies rather than struggle to pass such laws in the electoral arena. The Legislative Council for the Gun Owners of America says, quote, implications of the decision are already being felt in a wide variety of areas, like shareholders who want companies to divest in Israel, or shareholders who wanted prior to a few days ago to invest in Indiana. It's sort of an ongoing effort by the people who've been unable to use the political process to achieve political ends and now trying to destroy corporations in order to achieve those political ends. According to, in December, a letter posted to Trinity's website, the Reverend James H. Cooper wrote that the church's proposal was not anti-gun, nor did it intend to end the sale of certain products. The church is asking that investors be allowed to discuss with the board what policies and standards are applied for sale of items. Now, these are shareholders. So if I go buy stock in Walmart, okay, then I should get what they're arguing is that I should have the right to tell them what they can stock. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. But anyway, or it shouldn't. Now and in the future, Trinity's pastoral mission will maintain its focus on issues that the parish believes are critical to the welfare of communities and societies under the broad umbrella of justice and fairness that our faith represents, Mr. Cooper wrote. Mr. Hammond from Gun Owners of America told the Times that the church's idea of family values shouldn't apply to the country as a whole. He added that if Trinity wants to focus its efforts on political activism rather than church activity, it should continue changing its nonprofit status to reflect those goals, calling it a temple of political liberalism as opposed to a temple for the worship of God. According to Larry Keene, Senior Vice President and General Counsel to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the rifles that Trinity is concerned about are the most popular guns being sold in the U.S. today. They go on and talk to a couple of business professors, and of course, Cornell is filed. Linda Stout, a Cornell University professor, filed an amicus brief, which is a friend of the court brief, in support of Trinity, and said Walmart should want to hear the concerns of its shareholders on gun issues. However, the adjunct professor at George Mason University School of Business, Bernard Schaffman, said investors do not have the authority or the knowledge to make the decisions that govern the corporation. That kind of decision needs to be made by the board of directors. What is in the best interests of the corporation, that authority by corporate law is embedded by the board of directors. That's why you have a board of directors to make those decisions. But here's the other thing. I did this a little bit backwards. So Mr. Keene from NSSF made the best point in the article, which I thought was the management for Walmart should be making the decision of what products to sell. And if the shareholders don't like the product to sell, then they should sell their shares on the open market. So, and I think that
would be the general way shares work.
Yeah. So
I'm
going to
your
buy.
Shares are so the typical thing with a shareholder agreement is that you're buying the rights to participate in the voting process for selecting the board.
Mm-hmm.
The board's job, as is the case with every organization that uses a board, is to decide the direction of the organization that the board exists for. So, well,
it'd be like me saying, I'm going to buy Xbox, but I don't want you to carry Diablo 3. So I think you should have a vote whether or not you're going to carry that product. But I don't know anything about marketing in terms of software and technology and, profitability. I'm just going to tell you what you can do because I bought stock.
So let's see. I hear a dog barking. What's going on in the background? Well, let's see. The dogs could be either dogs that are outside of Andy's house, or more specifically, since all of us have the headphones on, we don't necessarily always hear this, but it is probably Smeagol downstairs.
The dog, Smeagol. You need to turn your mic up there, saying.
Okay. People want me to talk louder. Well, I should introduce you to my wife.
So, okay. I gave 3 suggestions before we started. Let's talk about any of them. I don't remember.
What were they?
Yeah. All right. So did you do all your articles that I gave you?
I've got
no,
2
not
left.
You.
Oh,
him. Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
He's not mumbling. You're just
you
deaf in both
you didn't want to
ears.
do that one, right?
No.
Okay. Go.
Okie dokie. Well, I got 2 more left. Actually, I've got 3.
Pick one.
Eeny, meeny, miny. Hey, Mo. Let's see. To piggyback on the New Jersey thing, did everybody see that the young lady from Pennsylvania that got arrested for having concealed carry lawfully in Pennsylvania, crossed over into New Jersey, got arrested, and there was the big public outcry about a year ago. Sentence got reduced to first-time offender instead of the 11 years, yada, yada, yada. Governor Christie this week came out and gave her a full pardon.
About time.
And expunged her record. So that takes care of that one. We'll go out to the left coast. State of Oregon. Senate Bill 945.
Wait a minute. Oh, that's one I gave you.
Yes.
Okay.
It's mine.
Okay. I was like, oh wait.
No, no, you gave that to me. You told
Perrin says, does a dog have more or less success hunting than you do, Andy? You know what, Perrin? Keep it up, pal. I'm gonna come get you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I can't watch a video right now. A minute, man.
That's the video about the South Carolina cop.
No, we're not going to discuss that.
Okay. Moving on then. I don't know anything about it. Go ahead.
And we're not going to discuss it. It's not worth discussing.
So,
Oregon, Senate Bill 945.
Okay.
The Senate out there are a couple Democrats that have passed or have introduced a bill that is trying to spur gun owners to lock up their guns if minors are in their homes. It's kind of what Maryland has. Maryland has a law similar to that. But the issue is out in Oregon, they want to make it a felony for the gun owner if a minor ends up with the firearm and commits a crime, unless the firearm was stolen by the minor. So
right, and is that the one where after the shooting? I'm sorry, I missed it. I was trying to answer
yes, it
something.
was this.
They were trying to hold the parents legally liable.
Yes, this was after the high school shooting out there this past year, and they were trying to hold the parents liable for the teenager getting his hands on the rifle out of the parent's safe. The safe works well up until the point to where a teenager of appropriate age has the combination to the safe.
So don't give it to them.
Right.
I mean, my daughter is 13. She knows how to shoot. She knows what to do and what not to do. Should she see a firearm lying on the coffee table unattended or out, I don't know where, but somewhere, she knows exactly what to do. Don't touch it. Okay. That's how you raise your children. And I would imagine, most of our listeners, have done the same thing. So, this business of trying to hold the parents legally liable. Anyway,
it's just another vilification.
And it's not just liable; it's criminally liable.
Yeah.
So,
right. So they're going to go to jail.
Right. Well,
right. Or lose their house or something awful.
In the state of Maryland's got a similar law, but it's a misdemeanor and it's $500 fine. The Oregon law makes it.
Our law is also specific to a loaded firearm.
Yes, it is.
So anything, I mean, at my home, I can store my firearms however I want as long as they are not loaded. I could leave it out on the kitchen table. I don't,
right?
Because I have 4 kids, and
right.
but they've all been taught the same thing. If they were to walk into my office and see one of my firearms out because I was cleaning it or whatever, and I had walked away for whatever, I know my kids are not going to touch it,
right?
Because that's what they were taught.
But you also would never leave it there loaded. And even if you didn't have kids, you wouldn't lay a gun in your house down on the counter loaded. First of all, okay, yeah. It just, I mean, I suppose there's some strange scenario where that might happen, but by the time I walk off the line at the range, my clip is empty.
Your what?
Your what?
My magazine is empty. Sorry. My magazine is empty. I've already checked the barrel and it's packed away. Oh, jeez. All right. You guys want to do the show? Just go ahead and do the show. I'll just sit here and drink. Cheers.
And look beautiful doing it.
Oh, suck up. It's too late to suck up now. So anyway.
It's not 9 o'clock. I can't answer that.
Good. So anyway, so
and yes, Perrin, we didn't cover that one specifically. A couple of guys have mentioned it in the forums that yes, if they have in Maryland, if your children have passed a hunter safety course, then the loaded restriction goes away.
Right.
Because they've met the requirements for being trained in how to handle a loaded firearm.
Right.
Yep.
So
and then let's see. Let's move on to I got 2 other things.
I don't care. We can go round robin or we can go all day on.
You got another one?
I got stuff.
Go.
I didn't divide equally.
That's fine.
You drove all the way out here. I wasn't gonna make you do too much homework. So I got a taskmaster for that one. He sends them, I print them, I highlight them, hand them out.
I got 2 more. So
okay. NBC4 out of DC, something called Sherwood's Notebook. So last week, apparently, they were writing and they were kidding around. Tom Sherwood, by the way, about giving in to the gun guys and opening a gun shop on Capitol Hill. Excuse me. And that was written in response to Rubio's proposal that to scrap city gun laws in favor of more lenient federal rules. Well, we don't think that the city will get around to opening a gun shop in defiance of Congress, but a retail gun store in the nation's capital is not entirely out of the question, according to this article. Last Friday on WAMU's Politics Hour, Police Chief Kathy
Lanier.
Cut her off.
It's French, so I thought it was Lanier. I know you've told me before, but whatever. I don't pay attention to her. She's an idiot.
Careful.
What?
Careful. Remember that. French, you pronounce the last letter of any word that ends in C, R, F, or L.
You took French?
Yes.
We.
Pretty impressed. Okay. I thought it was only if it ended in E, but I only took 1 year, so what the heck? Yeah, anyway, the police chief noted that the sky has not fallen. This is really interesting. She's noted that the sky has not fallen since the Supreme Court in 2008 threw out the city's ban on handguns. And the federal court last year said the district could regulate but not ban concealed carry firearms. She says, everyone fears the sky is falling with some gun legalization, but the numbers are not that high. Now listen to this quote. Okay, this struck me. She said about, well, it's not, it's a paraphrase. She said about 4,000 people. Are you laughing at me?
No. No, keep
I'm
reading.
laughing at something we can't repeat from the chat room.
Oh, jeez. No, we're not going to repeat that. We don't. No. She said about 4,000. She said about 4,000 people have opted for a license to have a handgun in the home. Okay. She said about 25 people have obtained concealed carry permits, while she has denied another 25. So she's saying 4,000 people have applied to have a gun in their home, and only 50 people have applied for a CCW.
There's been more than that have applied for a carry permit.
No kidding.
Well, that just means that's all that she has currently processed.
Just saying.
Because every one of them comes across her desk.
It's not this surge of people coming in that we're going to we're going to see like thousands of people. Anyway, and then the quote got cut off because my printer does funny things.
That's because a cat sits in front of it.
But here's the thing. But she was asked, but could the city one day have a retail gun shop like we would propose? Quote, would it be okay with you if the city were to open a retail gun shop? We asked. Well, Lanier?
Yes.
Lanier began. If we have concealed carry regulations, and I am very comfortable with concealed carry permits that I have issued, very comfortable. If there was a regulated way for people to purchase them in the district, I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Really?
Really. NBC4 reported the chief's remarks, but her breakthrough comment that a retail gun store could open here got surprisingly little media reaction. That's because they don't. Anyway.
Well, when it comes to DC has a zoning issue with regards to opening a gun shop in DC. Case in point, the one loan.
I still think it's Lanier.
Okay, whatever.
I'm arguing with Michael.
That's fine.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Michael, the delegate, walked in the room.
Keep it up.
There are currently 16 licensed firearms dealers in DC. There's only one of them that does transfers for any of the residents in DC. And his office is in the office of the Metropolitan Police Departments. The reason his office is in the Metropolitan Police Departments because that is the only place they could find to accommodate him after he lost his lease about 4 years ago and tried to open his shop elsewhere. And according to zoning laws in the city of DC, couldn't find any place that fit within the zoning laws.
Surprised he didn't sue.
That's why they gave him an office at MPD. It would be nice if somebody would like to open a gun shop in DC and couldn't, and then sued them a la Chicago.
Skipper Key suggests Southeast DC would be a lovely location for a gun shop. I happen to agree.
I think there are probably plenty of gun shops in Southeast DC. It's called the Trunks of Cars.
I was about to say no, because then that would be taking business away from the current dealers that are there.
Of all sorts of things.
Yes.
So it's illegal to sell guns in DC. I don't know that it's illegal to sell them. It is.
No, it's not illegal to sell them.
It is not illegal to sell them, but to have a storefront is incredibly difficult. So yes, the criminals go out of the city limits to buy their pieces. Of course they do. Yeah, Tim, they do. I mean, obviously it's illegal.
And they all fill out 4473s.
There you go. So
right.
Yes, see.
And sarcasm is a wonderful thing.
Yes. So a needle pulling thread.
doe, a deer, a female deer.
It's all you, babe.
Okie dokie. So back to my home state of Ohio, the Buckeye State. Lawmakers.
Nothing going on over there.
No, nothing really, except for the fact that my state is continuing to go in a great direction.
Hold on. Your state? I thought you lived here.
I reside here.
Okay. Just checking. Go ahead, boys. Give him shit. 6 minutes to go and I blew it.
I'll leave that alone and keep going. So back to Ohio. Back on March 23rd, a law took effect that they have universal recognition, which means they recognize every carry permit from every state, regardless of whether or not they have reciprocity. In addition to that, they've dropped their training requirement for carry permits from 16 hours down to 12. So, what's Ohio gonna do next? What could they do next?
I don't know. I'm not from there.
Oh, Indiana.
Go ahead.
Please
Go
turn me
ahead.
over your knee.
Oh, God. And continue.
Okie dokie. With the knee or this.
Dan. 5 minutes of 9.
Okay. I'm still behaving. Anyway, so we have several state representatives in the state of Ohio that have introduced a bill for Ohio to go constitutional carry. That means no permit for residents
I like it.
to carry. I love it.
How do we get that through? Because isn't Ohio a purple state?
No.
All red?
Red.
Wow.
Little blue around the fringes.
Oh, that's right. You gotta have some, gotta have a little blue everywhere.
Yeah. But
very little.
But it's dum da dee da dee. It'll be fun.
They're timing us.
Yeah, I saw that.
4 minutes.
Ohio's already got open carry for everybody.
Oh,
They've got
geez.
universal recognition now. This will be the next one.
Well,
so
now do you know that's got a sponsor, or you're projecting that's what's next?
Oh no, it not only has a sponsor, but it's got 20 co-signers.
That's awesome. How long are they in session for?
They just started session runs from now until I believe August. Off
That's
and
a
on.
long session.
It's off and on. It's not a straight 90. It's not
like Delaware,
right?
Where they go in and then they take a break and then they come back. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
And the bill to watch for those people interested for this session is House Bill 147.
Got it.
So,
got it. Apparently the bill in West Virginia died. I didn't see it.
oh,
Sorry.
and there's an addition to that bill also. I just saw the
Oh my
footnote.
God, I haven't seen FSR listener in a long time.
No, I haven't seen him, but
Wow, welcome back.
there's a footnote to this bill that I just saw.
Okay.
Not only would it make constitutional carry legal in Ohio,
Yes.
yeah, it would allow for long guns such as rifles and shotguns to be carried concealed.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that might kill it.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how I would conceal my
Long-
243.
Long coat.
I guess. I'm not doing that in the middle of August.
I can't remember. Are there any, other than the NFA items, are there any federal prohibitions on that?
I don't believe there are.
I know there are. You can't conceal an NFA item, but
Just thinking, it would be the only thing you would carry under your raincoat.
You get 2 minutes to go. So I'll ask you,
Yes.
what did you mean by that? You have 2 minutes to go. Can you answer that question
I can answer that question.
politely?
And within the restraints required.
Moving on. In Mississippi gun news.
It would be a perfect accessory.
Okay.
It would cover all the important spots.
That doesn't say much about me, does it? Anyway. So this is
You asked me if I could answer the question.
I think
I
I think you just insulted me. There's this website called Mississippi Gun News, and they're kind of good for a laugh. I ran across this, or did you send it to me? I don't remember. Does carrying a weapon concealed make you a coward? Did you send that to me?
I sent that to you today.
Did you read this?
Yes, I did.
It's pretty funny.
Yes, I know.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Hence the reason I sent it.
Okay. All right. I was like, so they are referring to carrying a weapon secreted upon your person was at one time considered a sneaky, dishonest, and downright cowardly thing to do. And at that time, there was a very good reason for this. That reason no longer exists, but the attitude against concealed weapons still prevails and this attitude is reflected in many state laws. Okay, right then and there, I knew we were in trouble. So this author, whose name is not here. Oh, yes, it is. D. Criswell wrote this piece basically explaining that in the age of dueling, there weren't police and there wasn't a code of law, but they would go out, they would voluntarily agree to go out and settle their differences by whatever, dueling or whatever. And he likens it to boxing, okay, where, they don't get into the boxing ring together. They're not forced. They agree to do this. But even though dueling has been obsolete for well over a century, the attitude that carrying concealed weapons is somehow dishonest still prevails. Okay, I did not know this. Did you know this? I did not know this. That it's carrying.
Well, I mean, you think about the way some of the folks across the aisle. Yes, I realize you're being sarcastic.
And is reflected in the state laws that severely restrict or forbid them. And they even use the case of George Zimmerman, that he cheated by, the whole article is just, it's just like, are you kidding me?
Well, the whole article is there's some
spoof.
factual stuff in there, but it's also, it's sarcastic humor.
Okay.
It really
so it's
is.
like The Onion.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a satirical piece.
Because I was like, I thought he was serious.
There are some nuggets in there. The largest gist of it was, back in, to use a colloquialism, the Wild Wild West.
Yes.
Yeah, if you were carrying a concealed firearm, or you go back to Blackstone's days, if you were carrying a concealed firearm, it was an indication of nefariousness. What they're really trying to point out is that, hey, it's still viewed that way by some folks. They don't agree with it. The whole point of that article is they didn't agree with it.
But I don't. Now, granted, we don't live in the South, so I'm speaking of things I don't know about, but I don't know anybody that goes carrying a concealed firearm is cheating or it's unethical. That it's somehow.
No,
I've had that discussion.
Go back to the comment about the perception that it's cowardly.
I've had that.
Why do you need to carry a gun?
Well, that's from people who don't like guns.
Well, that's the point of that. And that's the point of that article.
But that's what I'm saying is it's ridiculous because it doesn't make it cowardly.
The article was more, this is the attitude and it's not right.
Okay, this is probably why I don't read The Onion. Because I don't get that kind of humor. But it was an interesting article nonetheless. So you're being paged. Last time.
No, he's not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, I had that discussion when I was home back in January for 3 weeks with a couple people at the restaurant.
That it was cowardly?
They brought up, it's like, well,
unethical?
They brought up the cowardly part. And it's like, so why are you such a coward that you need to carry a firearm? I'm like,
I make people sleepy.
You make people sleepy?
Apparently.
He's not mumbling. He's soft.
Apparently, I mumble and I'm making people sleepy. So I should just sit here and shut up.
I think we just need to fire you up a little more. So, or turn up your microphone.
So, but
because I think you turn it up and then you hear it in your headphones and you think you're louder than you are. That's my theory, Mike.
But yeah, back when I was home, when I was out in Ohio in January, sitting at the restaurant, I carry when I'm at the restaurant.
Right.
And I open carry when I'm at the restaurant.
Right.
And a couple of our customers that I've known since I was tiny were like, you carry? Yeah. And we got into the whole entire discussion. I'm like, well, lest you all forget, folks, let's see. The lottery window was robbed when my sister was running it. Dad was in the back room and my mom was frying. 11 o'clock at night, is it after 9 o'clock? Yes, it is. Cool. I can say this. Some cock breath motherfucker broke into the restaurant, yanked the door open, and put a gun directly to my mother's head, touching her forehead. Which after I got the phone call an hour later caused me to make a 6-hour trip in 4.5 hours.
Right. I remember you told me this story.
And there's been minor robberies of the soda machines and other various accessory machines around the building over the past couple of years. So yes, it's not a great city to be there on occasion. So yes, I carry. Well, isn't that cowardly? It's like, well, it's a whole lot easier than making sure that I have a county sheriff on your dime on my hip 24/7, 365, which I got a dumb look from them. So.
Right. You have a right to protect your home, your body, and your business.
I do. So,
and apparently, Ohio recognizes that.
Quite nicely, by the way.
Actually, I am doing a little research into an article. Can you do another article while I read this real quick? Because I think I might have something to say about it.
Well, let's see. There was a bill introduced on the Hill to potentially do firearms buybacks at the federal level.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, there was a Democratic waste of air up there that introduced a bill to up to $2,000 per firearm for people that wanted to turn them in, mainly nasty black assault rifles. So that probably won't go far.
Oh, I chewed on my dad about that the other day.
How'd that go?
He said something about assault weapons. And I looked at him and I said, you do realize that that's a liberal term. And he just looked at me. He was sitting there smoking his pipe in the garage. And he just looked at me. I said, I'm not kidding. I said, I am really surprised. Okay. I figured you would be. Your stuff's here. You're not going to go that far. But yeah, he started in on the assault rifle. He was making the point that when they legalized whatever, I forget what it was, AR-15s or whatever, but he was like, and before we all jump down Dad's throat, Dad's 80, he'll be 82 this year.
And he holds a good conversation.
And he's a brilliant man. He's been around for a long time with dealing with politics and gun issues. And so he's speaking historically. So he's my dad and I won't book any arguments, but he said it. And I looked at him and went, Daddy, really? Assault weapons? Really? You're going to use that term with me of all people? Be like walking up to Shannon and saying that. That's what I said to him. I said, no, Daddy. And he goes, you know what I mean. And I went, yeah, okay, Daddy. Because when Dad breaks out the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's time to stop.
Time to shut up. Yeah.
Yeah, time to stop.
There is, so my friend and former delegate, Don Murphy, who is not listening to the show, but I'm posting to his Facebook as we speak, talking about this now on the show, posted an article, and the article is from The Hill, which is a reputable source. Christy Paul not invited to NRA summit. Now, I have not spoken to the lovely and fabulous Shannon about this because I frankly just saw this article, and it was posted today at 2:00. So it's not unusual that I just saw this article. Rand Paul and Chris Christie will not be among, actually, I've got a whole bunch of stuff on the NRA convention, will not be among the slew of likely Republican presidential rivals speaking to the NRA's annual convention this year. Neither Paul, who launched his presidential campaign Tuesday, nor Christie, who is still weighing his own White House bid, were invited to speak at the NRA Leadership Forum on Friday, in Nashville on Friday, according to the group. There are time constraints, and we just don't have the ability to accommodate everyone at every event, NRA spokeswoman Jennifer Baker told The Hill. Now, I have no inside information here. Okay? Everybody got that? I have no inside information. But I strongly suspect that you had to indicate to the NRA that you'd like to speak before they invited you to speak.
More than likely, yes.
And if you were just announcing your campaign on Tuesday, you might not have anticipated. Probably should have. And Chris Christie got a C from the NRA, so I can't imagine that he wants to be seen at the NRA.
Probably not.
So that would probably be why he didn't. And he criticized that grade as reprehensible. I'm sorry. Christie, meanwhile, got a C from the NRA when he was running for re-election as governor of New Jersey in 2013 after he criticized as reprehensible an NRA ad mentioning President Obama's daughters. I got to see that ad. You're back. He's leaving. You scared him. So a request for a comment from Paul Representative not immediately returned. I imagine they are what are you doing?
Nothing. I didn't see a thing, and neither did anybody else for a split second.
I was going to say. So anyway, so I would suspect that that you had to indicate some sort of desire to speak. When oh jeez, here we go. So there's another article I got to read. Okay. Of course, it's Glenn Beck. Who knows? Apparently, I'm going to miss the convention again.
So am I.
Let me turn this down. Yeah, I know, but it's in Nashville. We could have driven.
We still can.
Can't. I think it's the weekend of Sine Die.
Yes, it is this coming weekend.
I'm not missing Sine Die.
You would be back in time for.
We would be back in time.
I am not driving. I'm not going Friday, Saturday, Sunday, driving back 14 hours and staying up.
It's only 10.
18. It is not. On what planet?
On mine.
Okay. Fair enough.
Have you seen how we drive?
I doubt you could change a 14-hour drive into a 10-hour drive safely.
Oh, she of little faith.
Listening.
Virginia's posted speed limit is 70, which means you can legally before
79.
Yep, 79. Before, and ride beside Virginia State Police, and they'll wave at you as they go by.
4 hours off the time, and that's you're assuming that it's 10 hours to Nashville.
Yeah,
it was 14 to get to. Actually, to be fair, it was 13 to get to Pigeon Forge, and Nashville's further.
My brother-in-law's place is in Cleveland, Tennessee. I can be door to door, which is just outside of Chattanooga,
which is still a goodly distance from Nashville.
Farther away from Pigeon Forge,
so
well farther away from Pigeon Forge.
Well, yeah.
And we get there in 10 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, and how far is that from Nashville?
And by the way, MapQuest mapping it from my house says it would take 10 hours and 39 minutes. From my house to Nashville. From my house to downtown Nashville.
Well, maybe they put in some roads since.
Hi, everybody.
All I know is when we took the Suburban, that's how long it took us to get to Pigeon Forge.
Ah, there was your problem.
So that was a good car. I love that Suburban.
It's not a car.
And it rates it from here as 11 hours and 12 minutes.
So yes,
just saying.
It's a 10-hour drive from College Park.
I got you just saying right here, pal.
Can we see it?
No. Keep it up.
Proof or it doesn't exist.
Anyway.
What says everybody else in the chat room?
I am not driving 10 hours. Okay?
No,
on
you wouldn't.
Sunday to come back and basically spend 16 hours at Sine Die.
You'd be riding. You wouldn't be driving.
So such a shame you have to go so soon, Dan. Yes, I would like to go too, but they did it on the wrong weekend, and I could have driven this year.
Guys, why do I get the feeling that I probably won't be invited back for a while?
You're just gonna get smacked around.
Ooh, baby.
I was going to say, don't make him that promise.
You know, I'm going to harass you mercilessly when you're serving me tea.
Okay.
Just keep all this in mind because
Okay,
paybacks are a bitch. 400 exhibitors are competing for space in the
But they're fun when they come from one.
350,000 square foot building. It is in its 144th year. The convention has come to the NRA convention has come to the CPAC level pulpit for nationally recognized conservative politicians who, if they have not already announced a run for president, are courting the conservative base for one. This year's speakers are the usual suspects, but that's not what I wanted to get into. Oh, they are having some awesome concerts, by the way. Okay, yes. We all know who's speaking at the NRA convention, right? Is this going to be a surprise to anybody to find out that Bobby Jindal, Jeb Bush, Scott Walker, Mike Pence, Rick Perry, Rick Santorum, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Ben Carson, Mike Huckabee, Sarah Palin, and Donald Trump are speaking? No, I didn't think anybody would be surprised by that. However, Friday at 6 p.m., Hank Williams Jr. and Colt Ford will be performing a free concert down on downtown on Broadway Street. And 6 p.m. on Saturday, the NRA presents Alan Jackson with Jeff Foxworthy. I would go just for that.
Yep.
I'm just saying. But there's an interesting article that came from bearingarms.com entitled, "No, the NRA is not banning the carry of guns at its convention." Apparently, the lovely, and I use that as a euphemism, I have actually never seen the woman, Shannon Watts, tweeted, the NRA is all about pound gun sense at their upcoming Nashville convention, intimating that, I'll tell you. Watts quoted some of an article in the Tennessean by reporter Karen Grigsby that was factually accurate, if incomplete. And there's a link to the Tennessean.com story. Quote, a multi-level security plan went into works not long after Nashville was chosen as a convention destination. All guns on the convention floor will be non-operational with the firing pins removed, and any guns purchased during the NRA convention will have to be picked up in an FFL near where the purchaser lives and will require legal identification. Well, hold on. Okay. Watts then hinted that this amounted to a ban on guns, the NRA, and then she gets into this thing. But here's the problem. The NRA is requiring you to comply with their laws, the state of Tennessee laws. If you have a legal right to carry in Tennessee, the NRA is not keeping you from carrying at their convention.
Correct.
However, they will expect that if you buy a firearm, you will comply with state and federal laws.
And the
But
only
Shannon
thing that
Watts,
and the only thing that they were really doing is they were saying that the show floor,
right,
the items that the vendors and exhibitors have out
correct,
must be exorbitantly safe.
Right.
But no, the only place that from reading further into that article and NRA's announcements and some of the comments from our good friend, the only place where the only place in the annual meetings where it is not allowed is the concert venue, because the concert venue itself says
no dice,
regardless of whether you have a permit or not. No.
Yeah.
So yes, they expect that if you go to the concerts, you will not be armed. If you come into the show floor, well, if you're armed in compliance with Tennessee's concealed carry restrictions, okay,
right.
If you're allowed to legally do it, my permits allow it. So
the NRA is asking you to follow the law, to be a law-abiding citizen.
That can't possibly be.
Shannon Watts would have you believe that this is something new.
Shannon Watts would also have you believe, along with everybody else, that you aren't allowed to carry a firearm in NRA headquarters.
I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
somebody should have told me that before she gave me a tour of the. Oh wait, she didn't say anything about it.
Oh, I wonder why. So, and that is why they are located in Virginia.
Yes, it is.
So, that's all I got.
Well, let's see. Couple questions to answer from the chat room. Rain Man.
Yeah. What's the question?
Why they thought I was a coward for carrying a handgun back home in Ohio when we were having that discussion. I never really asked them why they thought I was a coward, other than the fact that they asked me, well, what was I afraid of? So I'm guessing that they were projecting their fears or lack thereof or whatever onto me. Another one. Hollis v. Holder. Out of Hollis v. Holder is a lawsuit in North Texas that is challenging the NFA. And the particular part of the NFA is the Hughes Amendment for 1986 that made the list of automatic firearms that we could own finite. There is a gentleman out in Texas that created a trust, submitted a Form 1 under the trust name to convert a semi-automatic firearm into a fully automatic firearm. The Form 1 was originally approved by the ATF because, according to the ATF, a trust is not a person, a trust is a corporation. And according to the ATF, corporations can indeed manufacture NFA items, post NFA items. It then got rescinded. So he has taken the ATF to court. And the main question that has popped up is, excuse me, but what's the difference between an automatic firearm that was made pre-June 1986 and one that was made post-June 1986? And why am I not allowed to own one? Why doesn't the government trust me to own one?
So where is that court case?
It's in the circuit court, the federal circuit court for North Texas.
So we're just beginning.
Yeah, we're at the preliminary levels on that.
I will trust that you will keep an eye on that.
We will keep an eye on that, and is there updates on that, we will bring them out. 2 weeks ago, we had 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
You've been gone for 3 weeks ago.
Okay, three weeks ago, we had we had Colby v.
Mhm.
It's now Hogan. I had a blast sitting there. That was a fun hearing to watch. And by now, pretty much everybody that's in the chat room has listened to the orals, all 48 plus minutes of it. The orals leave something lacking in that you couldn't see the facial expressions and the body language from all three sides. Our side, the state side, and the judges sitting up on the bench. And some of the facial expressions from the judges on some of the answers that they got from the state.
I'm screwing with Mike in the chat room.
Okay.
He deserves it. I tried to stand up for my boys, and he was like, "We're big boys. We can take it." Like, you know what?
And apparently tomorrow,
Yeah.
yours truly will be on an entire hour of the Gun Owners News Hour from Gun Owners of America.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
We have a link to that?
The link is podcast.gcnlive.com/
You're going to
Gun
post-
Owners News. Yes,
You're going to
I
post that
am
somewhere.
going to post that in the chat room. Posty
post
hasty.
it in MDS, or you can post it any way you want, but post
No, I'm going to
someplace.
post it. I'm going to post it here for now, but then I'll post it over on MDS also. That link should go live tomorrow. That was with Larry Platt, who's the executive director for Gun Owners of America.
Why don't you just put it on your Facebook?
I'll probably do that too once it goes live. Okay. And on the MSI website.
Well, you're going to be on the show with who?
Larry Platt.
Oh boy. Okay.
Already done.
Okay.
It was already recorded.
Okay. How'd it go?
I thought it went well. I was happy with it. It was 42 minutes of recording for an hour show. And it was all things Maryland, all the time.
Cool.
I really thought it went well. So once I get the link and it's up and working, I'll post it for everybody to hear and see, and everybody can throw stones at me for what they thought I should have said from the Monday morning quarterbacks. And if anybody thinks it can be done better, then they can all step up and do it next
Wow,
week.
you're not even drinking and you're all feisty and shit.
Yeah, it is me.
I'm on my second bourbon and Coke.
Okay.
And you're the feisty one? Lord.
When have I not been feisty?
Mm.
I just know when to turn it on and turn it off. Go ahead.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
Mike, got anything to say?
No, I think I'll stay out of this one.
Spoken like a true first responder at a domestic.
That's funny. Wait a minute. That came through fast. I don't see it.
What came through fast?
I don't see that comment.
What's
Which
that?
comment?
Spoken like a true. Oh, I thought he was reading it.
No.
Oh, I thought he was reading it.
No. That was right off the top of my head. That was me. That was not from the chat
All
room.
right, you get a little credit for that. Get a little credit for that. Yes. So you will put your link up on Maryland Shooters and on your Facebook page, and we will find out then what it is you had to say. And we look forward to it. Stop picking on Mike. Jeez.
Big deal.
He can't help it. He's a remph. He's jealous of.
He's a remph.
He's a remph. He's a rear echelon motherfucker.
That's what I was.
That's what he's. That's.
I was.
Oh, I thought you were talking about him.
No.
Oh.
We're talking about Bobby Allen, Minuteman. Yes, I'm calling him out.
Oh, come on.
He's
nice.
He's jealous.
It's a day for him. Be nice.
It is.
We won't say what day it is. It's just a day.
It is a day.
It's a day.
So it's a special day for Bobby. Bobby.
And he's not drinking. Okay, just want to point that out.
Maybe I should start.
Oh, here we go. Who's Mike?
Who's Mike? That would be me.
Which
the
we've
one
said
you
a couple
complain
times.
About mumbling.
Yes.
We've told you.
MJD 438.
We've told
the
you
M
about.
stands for Mike.
Mumble.
Yes.
I was a remph.
Mike was a remph.
I was a supply dork in the Marines for 5 years in the reserves.
Okay. All right. So that's all I got.
I think that's all I've got.
Now, next week we will be back and we will be discussing.
Are we going to be joined by a special guest or no? Do we know yet? Next week is Sine Die.
Shannon, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, Shannon's welcome on the show every week.
Well, that's what, but I didn't know.
We love her.
Are we
Just
doing,
because you
are we
deployed
doing anything
doesn't mean
special
you're not a
because-
remph.
One would hope she would at least call in, but it depends on her schedule because I think the Delaware legislature is still in. So I will find out. As a matter of fact, Monday when we see her,
Yes.
we will give her her time. Are you staying over?
Not yet.
Well, you probably ought to work on that before the room's all.
I still need to get a kitchen pass.
Oh.
Still working on it.
Yeah, that would be a kitchen pass for Monday night and
Yes.
then a kitchen pass for Wednesday.
The one for Wednesday is not a problem. It's the one for Monday night that I'm working on.
Let's see. I still need to check on Monday night, but I've got the day off from my work on Tuesday. So
No, good. All right. Well, that's all I have. So, and that's all you have?
I'm good.
All right. Mike, are you good?
I'm just the producer. I do what everybody else tells me to do.
I'm going to make a list.
Yeah.
I might be
Good luck
done
with that
by
one.
next week. So thank you for tuning in to the April 8th edition of Lock and Load Radio with my fabulous team, D Blast and MJD. And appreciate you guys coming out again, helping me do the show. Can't do it without you. Couldn't work the office without you. Couldn't do the show without you. So thank you again. And you got outtake music.
Should we just
We're just
do
a couple of grunts.
the same outtake that brought
You
us
may
in?
do whatever you'd
Yep.
like to do.
Good night, y'all, and we'll let Shannon have the last word.
Good night, everybody.
Hammers back and the safety's on, safety's on, safety's on. Hammers back and the safety's on unless it's a Glock.